And we are live for week 15. Good morning, everyone. How's it going? This is going to be a shorter live stream than usual. So I'm going to get right into it today. Good morning, everybody. It's week 15. It's been a fun week 15 so far. Just to recap, if you're just joining the programming here, we had some huge fantasy performances already in week 15. I hope you had Sam Laporta. I hope you had Jahmyr Gibbs. RIP to all the people out there with Zach Moss and Michael Pittman. They probably would have had 40-point games had they not got injured in the first quarter. We got the alarms going off. It's Sunday morning. A lot to talk through today. Still lots of football to happen in week 15. We've had more of it happen than usual at this time of the week, though. 4 games have already passed. We saw the Raiders absolutely destroy the Chargers on Thursday night. Hopefully, you played the Raiders defense on Thursday night. We saw the Bengals beat the Vikings in overtime. Jamar Chase gets hurt in that one. Justin Jefferson is back. Hawkinson did okay. Addison had one of his best games of the season. The Colts destroyed the Steelers without Michael Pittman, without Zach Moss for the vast majority of that game. The Steelers look like they are not headed for the playoffs this year. We got the Lions 42 points against the Broncos, who only had 17. Judy, Sutton, they played fine. Nothing to write home about. The Lions, though, continue to produce just so many fantasy points. Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, massive games. Fast forward to today. There is a lot to talk through. I got my QB rankings up on the screen on the YouTube Live. We're live on TikTok. We're live on YouTube, guys. If you're watching live on YouTube, smash the like button. It's 9 a.m. You're already tuned in. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to get to all the start sits today. We're going to talk about every single player from every single game like we always do. I do want to start Taysom Hill today if I can. There's a lot of tight ends, though, I think you can consider over him. Taysom Hill is going to play, though, for sure. All right. DeVito or Trevor Lawrence? Yeah, so I got my QB rankings up. You got to go Trevor Lawrence. You got to go Trevor Lawrence over DeVito. I don't think it's that close. Trevor Lawrence didn't have a game. He didn't have a game over 20 points for the first 8 weeks of the season. Let me pull this up here on the YouTube Live. And then I think he's ripped off 4 straight now. I mean, it's a tale of 2 seasons here for Trevor Lawrence. We do got to talk about the weather. I'm not a weather alarmist. If you've been watching me for long enough, you know I'm not a weather alarmist. There is some alarming wind today that we got to be aware of weather-wise. Yeah, 4 straight games here, over 20 points for Trevor Lawrence. I'm playing him against the Ravens. DeVito has a better matchup. It's not the best matchup in the world for Tommy DeVito. We don't even have his photo yet in the Walter Picks app. He's got to play a little bit longer to earn that. This is not close. You got to play Trevor Lawrence for sure. Swift, Zay Jones, JSN at the flex. I feel like you got to go Swift here, Dan. It's definitely Swift or JSN, and I'm assuming this is a PPR league. This is a good matchup for Swift this week. He has not been great for fantasy so far. Jackson Smith-Njigba has led the Seahawks in targets in a few games. Oh, man. Walter's given you a slight JSN edge here. I really do like the matchup here against the Seahawks, though, for Swift. Let me pull up some of these numbers against the Seahawks defense. Should I start Singletary or Breece Hall? Yeah, definitely go Breece there over Singletary. I think I'd play Jaden Reed over Keaton Mitchell, but that one's close, too. Let me read you some of these numbers about running backs versus the Seahawks to convince you to play DeAndre Swift here. And I know Jackson Smith-Njigba, he gets a good matchup today against the Eagles. The Eagles are going to destroy. They're going to destroy the Seahawks. This is definitely a get-right spot here for the Eagles. Part of the problem for DeAndre Swift this season has been the lack of rushing touchdowns. He does not score touchdowns. Go to the running back tiers here on the TikTok Live. He's got a good chance to score a touchdown today, guys. The Seattle Seahawks have let up at least 15 points to a running back in almost every single game they've played this season. McCaffrey did it. Pollard did it. McCaffrey did it again. We saw Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson both went over 15 points. Keaton Mitchell had 21 points. This is all in the last month and a half. They've let up a lot of touchdowns. Jordan Mason scored. Tony Pollard scored. McCaffrey scored twice. Darrell Henderson scored. Gus Edwards, Keaton Mitchell combined for 3 TDs. Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson both caught touchdowns against the Seahawks. Swift has a good chance at a TD today. I think his floor is higher than Jackson Smith and Jigba's. Walter actually agrees with me on that, at least. I would go Swift. I'm going Swift over Jason. It's close, but I would lean Swift. Puka or DJ Moore. Yeah, so these are, let me pull up the wide receiver rankings here. I got to pull these up. We'll talk through some of these wide receiver decisions. I'll pull up the wide receiver tiers on the TikTok live as well. Should I start Amari over Shaheed? Yeah, I would start Amari over Shaheed. It sounds like Chris Olave is a true game time decision. Right now, we actually have him projected as out in the Walter Picks app. I think there is a decent chance Chris Olave doesn't play today. Well, I'll talk through some of those injuries too, because there are some injuries still out there lingering. Because of course there is. It's week 15, and the injuries start to pile up as we've seen at this time of the year. And staying on top of the injuries is one of the biggest edges you can get in fantasy football. Of course, we're on it here on this live stream. Yeah, Puka Nacua has got to be started. He's got to be started. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, they both need to be started. There's really no way around it. Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, love the app. Thanks, man. Yeah, I think this is T-Law. Let me go to the QB ranks. Definitely it's T-Law or Kyler. Yeah, it's Trevor Lawrence. I got them back-to-back here in my QB rankings, but it's definitely close. But yeah, guys, Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp against this Commander secondary, like they need to be started. They need to be started if you're in the fantasy football playoffs, which you probably are if you're listening to this live stream at 9 a.m. You probably have Puka Nacua for a reason and Cooper Kupp for a reason, and it's for this week, guys, against the Commanders. This is such a good spot for this passing attack. Matthew Stafford, a fantastic option as well today. By the way, guys, the best way you can possibly support me, check out the Walter Picks app. It's free. It's in the iOS and Android app store. Hopefully it helps you all get to the point. That's your at. All right, Rashee Rice, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Devontae Smith need boom plays. Yeah, you got a lot of good options here. And I think the one to bench here is Zay Flowers. And this is a good transition into the Weatherman Sam report today. Let me pull this up because there is for sure some concerning weather to be aware of. The Falcons at the Panthers. This is the most concerning weather of the day. The Falcons at the Panthers. Heavy rain and 35+ mile an hour wind gusts for Desmond Ridder and Bryce Young. I feel like two of the quarterbacks most likely to be affected by weather like this in the NFL are Desmond Ridder and Bryce Young. I'm expecting an extremely run-heavy game here. I really like Bijan Robinson today. I don't think anyone's going to be considering benching Bijan, but he's a top 10 play easily. I think you could argue him in the top 5 in this game script, in this matchup with this weather. The passing game will be impacted in the Falcons and Panthers game. The other game, though, to be concerned about potentially has the potential, at least, to be even more impacted by the wind than that first game. The first game is going to have heavy rain and heavy wind. The Ravens and Jaguars, there's possible rain. It looks like they actually might avoid the rain entirely, but there's possible wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour in this Ravens and Jaguars game. You cannot throw the ball deep in a 40-mile-an-hour wind gust. It's not going to be a consistent 40-mile-an-hour wind throughout the whole game, but there's going to be moments where they cannot throw. So I'm a little bit nervous here for that one. That's why in that last comment, I would bench Zay Flowers for a guy like Garrett Wilson, who he's also playing in a game with some weather, but not as concerning weather. That game's in Miami playing the Dolphins. Possible rain in that one. I don't think there's going to be significant rain in this Jets-Dolphins game, but there's wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour in that game too. So a lot of weather to be aware of. The most important games, though, weather-wise to monitor are the Falcons and the Panthers. Heavy rain throughout the entire game and 35+ mile an hour wind gusts. That's just a game that will be impacted. It's going to be harder to throw in that game. The Ravens and the Jaguars. Possible wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour. The passing game is going to be impacted at moments in that game. It's not going to be the entire game with 40-mile-an-hour winds. But, man, it's a big day. It's a huge day, Casey. It's week 15. It is the start of the fantasy football playoffs. It is the first week of the playoffs in the thousands of best ball leagues. I did, please, God, one time, let me advance to the finals in Best Ball Mania. All right, we got Swift or Keaton Mitchell. It's Swift. It's got to be Swift over Keaton Mitchell. Let me pull up the running back ranks here again on the YouTube live. I got them up, pull them up right now on the TikTok live as well. Help answer some of these comments that I'm not getting to right now. OBJ, Zay Jones, Lockett, Dobbs, Shaheed. Oh, man, yeah, this is close. With the weather report in Baltimore, I'm cool benching OBJ. I think I'd probably go Dobbs, honestly. With Christian Watson out, I like Jaden Reed and Dobbs a decent amount today. I think Shaheed's in play too. There's a good chance Chris Olave doesn't play. Let me recap here the news. Let me recap the news here about the injuries because there's a lot of injuries. There's optimism that Aaron Jones is going to play. A.J. Dillon is not expected to go. This is big. This is a big news report here for all the Aaron Jones people that had to make some tough decisions. I mean, we were making some tough decisions this week around the injuries when we had 4 games before the Sunday slate. We got Aaron Jones, no idea if he was going to finally be able to get out there. We haven't seen Aaron Jones, guys, in basically a month. He's missed 3 straight games. But not only is Aaron Jones playing today, A.J. Dillon is out. He's likely out. It's huge. And I don't think my running back tiers fully will reflect this because I made this before this report came out. And I do think Patrick Taylor has a role. I don't think they're just going to give Aaron Jones like this massive role in his first game back, but it's going to be bigger than it would have been with A.J. Dillon out. I feel pretty good about saying that. And he's probably going to get 12% target share at least. Aaron Jones is in the RB2 conversation for sure now. And A.J. Dillon needs to not be trusted. Hopefully nobody was trusting him anyway. All right, we got Ayuk, Etienne, or Swift. Yeah, this one's between the first two here, between Ayuk and Etienne. I don't think Swift's on the same tier as Ayuk or Etienne. I do have some worries just about the floor for Ayuk. The ceiling is obviously there for him. I think the floor-ceiling combo is probably better for Travis Etienne. Yeah, I'd go Etienne. This is half PPR too. I usually like leaning running back in half PPR over receiver where possible. Etienne, his snap percentage went back up last week too to a 77% snap percentage. That was the most snaps that Travis Etienne's played in a game since week 8. The most he's played in a month and a half. He was dealing with injuries and he's back to full health. This is a huge game here for the Jaguars. Wind concerns here. That does not impact Travis Etienne as much as it impacts everybody else. Achane or Swift. The Devon Achane decision this week, one of the tougher decisions, I think, across all start-sit decisions. I got Achane ranked pretty high. He's in tier 4 for me right there with Pollard. I got him ahead of Mostert still. Walter agrees with this. Every game that Devon Achane has played and that he's been fully healthy and that he's seen like reasonable volume, he's smashed. He's gotten over 20 fantasy points. Last week, he only had 12 points. He only had 7 carries last week, though. He did have 9 targets, though, for a 28% target share. I'm starting Devon Achane. I'm starting him over Swift. Swift has a good matchup, too. Achane ceiling's higher. Achane ceiling is higher. I'm starting Achane. Achane absolutely can win weeks. I'm playing Aaron Jones over McBride with this report that A.J. Dillon is not going to play. D-Hop or Rice? Yeah, it's Rice. It's Rice over D-Hop. I like D-Hop a lot, but it's Rice. Rice is definitely locked and loaded as a high-end wide receiver, too. Jones, Kenneth Walker, or Swift? Oh, gosh, you got to pick 2 there. Let's do this comparison. I think the app's not going to say Jones. I did update this, though. Kenneth Walker. I think I'm going to bench Kenneth here and play Swift and Jones. Yeah, you got to bench Kenneth Walker. You got to play Aaron Jones and Swift over Kenneth Walker. Zay Flowers or Zeke, you can't bench Zeke. There's no benching Ezekiel Elliott. You just can't do it. He was the running back 1 last week. I feel a little – I care a little bit less about that, by the way, after seeing how bad the Steelers' defense was again. Like part of Zeke being RB1 last week was the Steelers' defense. The Chiefs' defense is much better than the Steelers' defense. But Zeke had 30 touches, guys. He had over 20% target share. He had 30 touches. If the Pats somehow manage to get to the goal line, it's going to be Zeke, and he's going to be involved in the passing game too. High floor, high ceiling for Zeke for sure. Let me pull up. I got the running back rankings up now. I have Ezekiel Elliott over Rachaad White. I have Ezekiel Elliott over Derrick Henry. I have him over Saquon Barkley, over James Cook, over Breece Hall, over Devon Achane, over Tony Pollard. I am over almost everybody. The only running backs I'm playing ahead of Zeke this week with the guys that are left: Christian McCaffrey, Kyren Williams, Alvin Kamara, Bijan Robinson, Travis Etienne. That's it. He's number 6 for me. Still play Lawrence even with the weather. Murray or Smith in his place. Yeah, if you want to play it safe weather-wise, then the answer there is Kyler. I had T-Law and Kyler back-to-back here in my rankings anyway. I had them in a different tier, but I don't think there's a huge gap. The good thing about Kyler is you will get some rushing. Not an amazing matchup against the 49ers, but yeah, the weather is a real concern here in the Jaguars-Ravens game. There's going to be moments where there's wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour. Trevor Lawrence cannot throw the ball deep in that scenario. Good morning, Sam. Fantasy playoff times. Happy fantasy playoffs. to all of you guys. It's going to be one of my shorter live streams of the season because we went live Saturday morning, we went live Thursday night, and I'm going to the Patriots game to watch them get destroyed by the Chiefs today. It's going to be a great one. So we're gonna go, we're 100% right out of the gates here in this live. Get to as many start hits as I can, talk about as many players as I can, talk about every single game, of course. I'm starting Achane over Reed. I'm starting Achane over a lot of guys. I'm trusting the upside of Achane. All right. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, McKinnon, or CEH. So A.J. Dillon's looking like he's going to be out, and that's big news, guys, for Aaron Jones. I think it's pretty big. I would start Aaron Jones over McKinnon and over CEH pretty easily at this point. I had Freiermuth. Yeah, Freiermuth. Let me pull this up really quick. Update the app with the Aaron Jones news. And Javonte. Yeah, Javonte was a big letdown last night. Still have CeeDee Lamb, Lamar, and Ayuk left. Yeah, those are definitely some good guys to have. And the good thing about Lamar Jackson and why you still need to start Lamar Jackson, despite the concerning weather for him, he can make it up in the running game for sure. Chuba Hubbard or Romeo Doubs, PPR. Yeah, I'm going Doubs. Doubs and Reed, guys, they have a really, really good ceiling against the Buccaneers. This is a good matchup for the Packers passing attack. Jordan Love, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Aaron Jones, I would include in that also, especially with A.J. Dillon out. Help me pick three: Rachaad White, Zeke, Mostert, Achane, Breece, Aaron Jones. Yeah, you got to start these first two for sure. You have to start these first two. Rachaad White and Ezekiel Elliott need to be started. They need to be started. I'm starting. I think I'm going Aaron Jones over Gibson. I think I'd go Achane over Jones if they both play. There's still a chance Achane doesn't even play. Love or Stafford? Yeah, I'm going Stafford over Love, but they're both good options for sure. So to wrap up this question here, you got to start Rachaad and Zeke. I'm playing Achane over Mostert, but it's close. But I think I'd play Breece over all these guys. I think I'd play Breece over Mostert and over Achane and over Aaron Jones. Can we trust Tyreek this week, or should I put Garrett Wilson in? You got to trust Tyreek. You have to trust him. It's the fantasy football playoffs. He's been arguably the best fantasy football player this year. Last week, guys, Tyreek Hill, I wouldn't be shocked. I was at this game, by the way, where Tyreek got hurt. It was a really weird situation. I don't know if it was as strange watching on TV. It probably was, where he was hurt in the first quarter, and then he sat out the entire rest of the first half. Didn't put his helmet on the whole rest of the first half. Came out at the start of the third quarter. Was not out there in the entire first drive of the third quarter, or at least at the start of it. And then he came in later in the third quarter and played a decent amount of the rest game. Ended up only playing 47% of the snaps. He still had 4 catches, 61 yards. He didn't even play half the game, and he still went 4 for 61, 10 points. He doesn't have a game under 10 points this whole season. So, yeah, you got to trust him. You got to trust him 100%. The ceiling is still wide receiver 1. Good morning, Sam. Good morning to you, everybody. Hit the like button if you're watching live on YouTube, guys. It is 9:17 in the morning, and we are up. We are grinding for the fantasy football playoffs, and I really do. The likes actually help even more today because we're going to end the live stream earlier, which means hopefully more people will come and watch the recording. So smash the like button. I appreciate you. Okay, I have Evan Ingram, Mostert, and Pop Douglas, Swift, McBride. Yeah, so we're not starting tight ends over these guys. I would probably go. We'll see if Achane plays. I do like Mostert against the Jets. Let's do Mostert versus Swift. I would play Mostert and Swift over Pop Douglas. Demario Douglas is back. Like, he definitely has a chance to return value in fantasy or go over 10 points. What's the real ceiling for him? I'm not so sure. In his first game back today, it's not really like the best matchup here against the Chiefs either. They should be losing, which is good. And Pop Douglas has been clearly the best receiver for the Pats, especially since Kendrick Bourne went down. You got to start Mostert here. Yeah, it's Mostert. It's Mostert over Swift. Puka or Saquon. I'm not benching Puka, man. We'll see what Walter says here. I'm not benching Puka, though. I think Puka needs to be started against the Commanders. I think Puka can win matchups this week. Saquon certainly. Oh God, yeah, Saquon projects better here. He gets the Saints. I'm playing Puka over Saquon. I know Saquon's coming off a good game, 23-point game. He was RB4 last week. Saquon's been a top 5 running back 2 of his last 3 games, but he's also gotten under 10 points in 2 of his last 4. I'm going Puka. I'm going Puka over Saquon. I think the ceiling's higher for Puka than it is Saquon. Good morning, Sam, James Cook, or Chris Olave. There's a good chance that Olave doesn't play. We're actually projecting Olave is out right now, Tony. I don't think you can bank on Chris Olave playing. I think you got to go with your other option here. Chris Olave is considered a game time decision, source said, but there is not a lot of optimism that he can go just now from Ian Rappaport. Let me read through the recap of the injury news really quick for you guys. Not expected to play today. CJ Stroud not playing. Nico Collins not playing. Tutu Atwell not playing. You want a super deep sleeper? Demarcus Robinson for the Rams today against the Commanders. Game time decisions today. Tyreek Hill is a game time decision. Unclear if he's going to play. The way they're phrasing this Tyreek Hill situation is they're letting Tyreek decide, which to me means he's probably going to play. But it's up to Tyreek, I guess, at this point. I think he's going to play because he went back in the game last week, and he's chasing 2,000 yards. I think he's going to play, but he's a game-time decision. Devon Achane, same thing. He picked up a toe injury. This is a new injury for Achane, who's been very fragile this year. They're playing the Jets. They're 10-point favorites. Do they risk it with either of these guys? I mean, it sounds like Tyreek's going to play, in my opinion. Achane, I think, is much more 50-50. Olave is a game-time decision, but there's not a lot of optimism he's going to play. Chris Olave should not be in your fantasy starting lineup right now. You got to assume he's not playing. At this point in time, you need to assume Chris Olave is not playing, and then if he ends up playing, that'd be a nice surprise. But you got to make other plans. Chris Olave is probably not going to play. Juju Smith-Schuster is a game-time decision. It doesn't seem so optimistic about him either. Not that anyone's trusting Juju at this point, but it does have some DeMario Douglas implications there. And Zeke implications, I would say. Expected to play today. Aaron Jones is going to be back. A.J. Dillon is out, most likely. That still hasn't been officially confirmed, but it seems like it's trending that way. A.J. Dillon's got a broken finger, guys. I think it's a broken thumb. He cannot catch. Aaron Jones is going to get all the targets out of this backfield today. You can feel pretty good, I think, about Aaron Jones in his first game back here. He almost came back last week, too, which gives me some additional confidence that Aaron Jones is maybe closer to full health than we realize. I usually, feel a little queasy starting guys the first game back after missing a month. But Aaron Jones comes back to a pretty good spot here. Not a good matchup against the Bucs, but I think that the PPR upside is still there. DJ Moore is expected to play. Darren Waller is back this week. Let me pull up the tight end tiers here. It is a tough call with Darren Waller, in my opinion. I'm leaning towards just don't start. Don't start. There's obviously a case for starting him. Let me refresh our memory on Darren Waller here. I'll pull up the game logs on the YouTube live. Darren Waller was balling, at points this season. He was a top 5 fantasy tight end. A lot of green here in these game logs. He was going over a 20% target share every single week before he went down. He only had one game under a 17% target share this season at full health. But it's his first game back. Will they really give him a full workload? I'm not super convinced. How does he mesh with Tommy DeVito? I'm not so sure about that either. I still think there's a pretty clear story that he's the best receiver on the team, just hands down. So tough call, I think, with Waller. In his first game back, though, I'd much prefer to play guys like Evan Ingram, Trey McBride, David Njoku, Jake Ferguson, Dalton Kincaid, Dallas Goedert, George Kittle, Isaiah Likely, Cole Kmet, Taysom Hill. I'm starting all those guys over Darren Waller in the first game back. Hopefully next week, though, if you advance, you can start Waller. You're starting Aaron Jones over James Cook for sure. You're starting Aaron Jones, over James Conner for sure. Gibson, full workload, or Achane banged up. Yeah, it's Achane. It's Achane if he plays. If he plays, we're not even sure he's going to play yet. Let me pull the wide receiver rings here on the YouTube live. Good morning, everybody. Shout out to everyone in this live, guys. If you're watching live on YouTube, smash the like button. If you're watching live on TikTok, hit the follow button. Jones, Flowers, or London. It's Jones. Guys, start Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon's out. Start Aaron Jones. I'm playing. If Achane plays, I am playing Achane over Mostert. It's close, though. I'm fine with the argument of Mostert over Achane. I'm playing Puka over Ayuk. Yep, I like Ayuk as much as anybody. But the matchup for Puka is undeniable. It's undeniable. There's a chance that this 49ers game is not close, too. I think the floor is much lower for Ayuk. I think the ceiling's higher for Puka and the floor is higher for Puka. Stafford's going to ball today, guys. The whole Commanders team, the whole Commanders defense is a joke. Swift or Singletary? It's Swift over Singletary for sure. Yeah, it's still Breece over Aaron Jones. I still think so. The Aaron Jones decisions just got a lot more interesting, though, for sure, with A.J. Dillon being ruled out. Let me close the app and open it again because I just updated for the Aaron Jones projections. So let me pull this back up. Oops. CH or McKinnon? Yeah, so I'm going to this Pats game today. They're both probably going to score. I think I lean CH, though, just slightly over McKinnon. Calvin or Douglas or Woods? Yeah, it's Ridley. I'd go Ridley. I'm not playing Robert Woods. I'm not talking myself into. I know that Nico Collins is out. I know Tank Dell is out. Noah Brown's going to be the top receiver. Hutchinson might get involved. I'm not starting Robert Woods with whatever it is they're starting at quarterback. Davis Mills. No, thank you to 32-year-old Robert Woods with Davis Mills as his quarterback. I'm not doing that in the playoffs. Isaiah Likely or Taysom. Yeah, I'm playing Likely over Taysom. I think it's a close call. Kmet over Taysom. Honestly, Likely over Taysom is really tough, especially with the weather in Baltimore. I think it's probably closer. All right, we're going to do Brees versus Aaron Jones here on the YouTube live. We're live on TikTok and YouTube, by the way, guys. Shout out to everybody who's with me in this live stream at this time in the morning. TikTok live. I'm experiencing some lag on my end. I'm going to restart the TikTok live. I'll be back in 2 seconds. It's still Breece Hall. Yeah, this is the updated Aaron Jones projection after the AJ Dillon news. This is with AJ Dillon projected as out, and still Breece Hall is getting the edge here. I agree with this. I think this makes sense. Breece Hall coming off a huge receiving day. He just played the Dolphins too. The last time Breece played the Dolphins, he had 12 points. But look at these receiving numbers for Breece, man. These are insane receiving numbers for Breece. 9 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets, 6 targets. He's had at least 5 catches in 4 straight games. He's got at least 3 catches in every single game since week 4. That's what you love to see in PPR leagues, especially. Mostert, HN, yeah, or Aaron Jones. I think I'd probably go Mostert, but it's probably pretty close. Let's see. Yeah, it's Mostert. Just by an edge. It's Mostert. It's close, but you got to go Mostert over Aaron Jones as well. Ridley, Swift, or Zeke. It's Zeke. I'm playing Zeke over Swift and Ridley pretty easily, honestly. He had 30 touches last week. He doesn't get to play the Steelers again. Clearly, the Steelers are in an abysmal defense right now, especially against the run. Elijah Moore, Singletary, or Waller. Oh, gosh, yeah. Singletary or Elijah Moore there, I think. I'm playing them both over Waller. I'd prefer to bench Waller if I can. I'm going Goddard over Taysom. Taysom's in play, guys. Don't get me wrong. Taysom's in play. He's definitely in play. And if you really need a ceiling game, like say, for example, you played against Laporta or Amon-Ra St. Brown already, then maybe there's a better case here for Taysom because Taysom is 2 rushing touchdowns away from getting you back into that game. I think that the floor is a bit better with Goddard. I'd argue the ceiling is pretty high for Taysom. But I'm going Goddard over Taysom Hill. Is DJ Moore playing? Yep. It sounds like DJ Moore is going to play. I haven't seen a question for it yet, but I know there's going to be some people out there asking because, guys, we cashed again on the free player prop yesterday. That one was pretty easy. Jahmyr Gibbs, over 53.5 rushing yards. He had almost 100 total rushing yards in that game, had a 40-yard carry in that game, just like we predicted. We moved to 24-10 on the free player props, and I absolutely love the free player prop today. Absolutely. We're going back to the well with this one. It is Devontae Smith, guys, over 58.5 receiving yards. Devontae Smith has been balling. And yes, I know Dallas Goedert's back. I know a lot of his production came with Dallas Goedert out, but we look at Dallas Goedert's first game back, Dallas last week. And what does Devontae Smith do to silence the haters in Dallas Goedert's first game back? He has a 36% target share, catches only 5 of those, 5 of his 10 targets, 73 yards, beats this prop line with ease. He's now beat this prop line in 5 of his last 6 games. Devontae Smith has at least 44 yards in 8 straight games. And they're setting this line at 58.5 in a spot against the Seahawks. The Seahawks play a ton of zone coverage. Devontae Smith has been targeted even more heavily in zone than in man. The Seahawks are playing zone at some of the highest rate in the league. Devontae Smith over 58.5 receiving yards. Cash that in. What's thoughts on Olave today? The thoughts on Olave today are that he's not playing. So make other plans. You got to assume he's not playing at this point based on the reports that are out there. Rashee Rice or Breece Hall? Yeah, it's Breece over. Actually, I don't know. Let's pull this comparison up. I think it's close between Rashee Rice and Breece Hall. I do really like Rashee Rice for sure, especially in PPR. I like Breece too, though. It's Rice by a tiny bit. It's Rashee Rice by a tiny bit. I would go Rashee Rice if that's PPR league. If it's not a PPR league, I think I'd probably go Breece. Zeke or ETN? Yeah, I got ETN one spot ahead of Zeke. Do I stack Reed and Dobbs or play Cooks? Yeah, stack Reed and Dobbs. 100%, Billy. This is a good play. Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers secondary, one of these guys at least is going to have a big game, and they're both capable of having big games together. I'm playing Reed and Dobbs easily over Cooks, Elijah Moore, Noah Brown, Zay Jones. Not even close. Have Tyreek, a bit concerned about his ankle and weather, so need some boom. Yeah, you're still going to start Tyreek, but for sure you can be worried. With Olave out, do I start JSN, Dobbs, London, Shaheed, or Ridley? Half PPR. Yeah, this one's pretty close between JSN, Dobbs, and Ridley. You can't play London. You can absolutely not play Drake London in this Falcons game with the weather report there. Shaheed's in play with Olave out too, but I don't think I'd play Shaheed over any of these guys. Shaheed's coming back off his own injury too, so a little bit of uncertainty there. Jackson Smith-Njigba does have an intriguing matchup on paper against the Eagles. Ridley is in a tough weather game here too, though. I think I would probably go Dobbs or JSN, honestly, with the weather report in Jacksonville. Tough matchup against the Ravens too. Much better matchups here for Dobbs and JSN. I think I'd go Dobbs, and then I'd go JSN. JSN's been getting a lot of targets, but he's been back to that role where a lot of his targets are right near the line of scrimmage, which I do not love. Morning, Sam. Zay Flowers or Amari Cooper? Half PPR. It's Amari. It's Amari over Zay with the weather there for sure. What defenses do you like? Yeah, so let's just go through the spreads really quick, because that's how you look at the defenses. Just look at the spreads of the games. The Raiders defense, you missed out on them. It's okay. There's going to be another defense like that today. It's probably going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 8.5-point favorites. The Pats are projected to score like under one touchdown or like under 1.5 touchdowns in this game. The Dolphins defense, they look great today. I do like the Saints defense a lot. I think the Saints defense was my number one defense going into the week. I think they're going to get a ton of sacks against the Giants. I do like them as a defense. I think that the 49ers defense against the Cardinals is absolutely in play. The Rams defense against the Commanders is in play. And the Ravens defense versus the Jaguars too, with the weather projected there tonight. I think that defense is in play as well. But yeah, the Saints, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, those are probably my three favorite defenses to go with today. The Packers defense, not terrible. Yeah, against the Bucs. I don't love that as much though. Walker, Mostert, Henry, start to, yeah, you bench Kenneth Walker here. Start Derrick Henry, guys. I go back and forth a little bit with the Derrick Henry stuff this week. There's a good chance I think Derrick Henry busts. And I don't feel great saying it because you look at the historical numbers for Derrick Henry against the Houston Texans, and I mean, they're mind-boggling. I mean, he's just absolutely destroyed. No player has violated a team more consistently at this time of the year than Derrick Henry violating the Houston Texans. I mean, it's crazy. He's gone over 100 yards so many times against the Houston Texans, like in this specific time of year. But those past Texans teams were really, really bad, guys. They were worse than this Texans team. We did just see Breece Hall go for 26 points. That was mostly through the air, though. We actually haven't seen that many big rushing days against the Texans. They actually haven't allowed a single 100-yard rusher this whole season. But then you factor in that CJ Stroud is out, Nico Collins is out, Tank Dell is out, and we get to the point where I feel pretty good about the potential game script here for the Titans. They're actually 3.5-point favorites, and yeah, you can ride Derrick Henry, I think, with some confidence, because the biggest thing for Derrick Henry is the Titans not falling behind by a lot so he can get a lot of carries, because when they fall behind by a lot, it's Tyjae Spears that really gets most involved. So yeah, I like Derrick Henry. They're the 3.5-point favorites against the Texans. He can definitely be started for sure. All right, let me go to the QB tiers here. CEH, Ridley, Walker, Ford. CEH, Ridley, Walker, Ford. Oh, that's close. Let me go to the running back rankings here. It's Ford. It's Ford or Ridley over CEH for sure. Rashad, Mostert, Achane, Zeke, start 3. Yeah, so the question here is, do you want to play it safe? If you want to play it safe, bench Achane. Do you want to shoot for the ceiling? Bench Mostert. You're playing Zeke and Rashad. So Mostert versus Achane. I lean towards Achane just because that's my personality. I like to shoot for ceiling. I want the highest upside player in my lineup. That's Achane. But there's a legit chance Achane doesn't even play. So certainly, monitor that. But if he does play, and I think it's likely he will play, I would prefer Achane over Mostert. Rashee Rice, it's Rashee Rice. Start Rashee Rice, guys. Start Rashee Rice. Let me pull up the game log here for Rashee Rice just to give you some confidence here if you haven't seen this yet. But Rashee Rice has been balling. Rashee Rice has set a new career high in snap percentage in back-to-back weeks. 3 straight weeks, he broke his personal record in his career in the NFL in snap percentage. He's a every down player now for the Chiefs. They finally realized he's the best receiver. Not only that, he's had 3 straight games in those games over 25% target share. He's had at least 7 targets in all 3 of those. He's the number 1 receiver for Patrick Mahomes right now, right after Travis Kelce. And you got to think that the Pats are going to be pretty honed in on Travis Kelce. Gibson or Waddle? Yeah, I'm going Gibson. The pick for the day. Yeah, we're back. People are coming back for the picks of the day because we've been cashing on the picks of the day. We cashed Jahmyr Gibbs yesterday over 53.5 rushing yards, and we're going to cash Devontae Smith over 58.5 receiving yards today. He's hit this in 5 of his last 6 games. I know Dallas Goedert's back. Dallas Goedert was back last week too. And Devontae Smith had a 36% target share last week. They're playing the Seahawks. The Seahawks are not going to be able to defend against Devontae Smith. They play a lot of zone. Devontae Smith eats against zone. AJ Brown, guys, he has one of the highest target rates against man coverage in the NFL. But the Seahawks play zone coverage at one of the highest rates in the league. Well, I think this could be more of a Devontae Smith game potentially than an AJ Brown game. Not that you got to bench AJ Brown or anything. He's still my number 2 receiver. Just to say this line's too low. 58.5, too low for Devontae Smith. This should be in the 60s. This should be a 64.5 line, and is at 58.5. I like this Devontae prop a lot. Any Tyreek updates on that injury? The only update we got about Tyreek is that he's going to get to decide if he plays or not. That's like the only report we got. So to me, that means there's a good chance he's going to play. I think there's a good chance he's going to play because he went back in to the game with this injury last week. I think he plays, but there's definitely a chance he doesn't. So it's one of the ones we're monitoring, right up till kickoff today. Zeke or ETN? Yeah, it's ETN over Zeke. I'll pull up the running back rankings here again. We'll go back to the running back rankings here. Bijan or Kupp? I'm not benching Kupp. I really like Bijan today. I am not benching Kupp. Aaron Jones, Chuba Hubbard, or Hollywood Brown. It's Aaron Jones. Yeah, AJ Dillon's out. Aaron Jones is in. You got to start Aaron Jones. Jaden Reed, Jerome Ford, Aaron Jones, and full PPR flex spot. Yeah, this one's Reed or Jones. It's Reed or Jones. And by the way, this tier list above me is not updated for the Aaron Jones news. AJ Dillon is out. Aaron Jones is in. This is all but confirmed. So Aaron Jones is more of a tier 4 guy. I'd probably put him right before Achane. I would start Jones over Achane. I start Aaron Jones over Pollard, over Mostert, over Gibson, over Hubbard, over Ford, over Keaton Mitchell, over James Conner, over Swift. Start Aaron Jones over all these guys. I'd still start Breece over Aaron Jones, James Cook over Aaron Jones, Saquon over Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry over Aaron Jones. I'd go Rashad White, Zeke, ETN over Aaron Jones, and all the above. But yeah, Aaron Jones gets a lot better with AJ Dillon out for sure. Like he has a pretty good receiving role with AJ Dillon out. Breece, Puka, Garrett, Rice, bench 1. Yeah, so this is a good spot to be in here, Jeff. You definitely a really good spot to be in. You're starting Puka, you're starting Rice, you're starting Breece, you're benching Garrett Wilson. And it's easier to do this too with the projected weather in Miami. There's going to be some wind in Miami. Let me pull up the weather report again here on the YouTube Live. There's definitely, Weatherman Sam is here for you guys. There's some weather to be aware of. Guys, smash the like button, hit the follow button if you're just tuning in. I appreciate you all so much. As always, the best way to go and support me, download the Walter Picks app. It is free. It is in the TikTok bio. It is in the YouTube description. It is a free app. It's on the screen right now if you're watching live on YouTube with the game logs. These game logs are free. There's no reason you shouldn't have this app yet. You are at a disadvantage in your fantasy leagues without this app. It is a free app. Plus, there's premium features that you get for free when you use code SAM when you sign up. All right, Rashee Rice or Zay Flowers? Yeah, it's Rashee Rice over Zay Flowers very, very easily. The game weather for the Baltimore Ravens, we're looking at possible 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts in that Baltimore game. I am not a weather alarmist, guys. I am not a weather alarmist. If you've been following me for any amount of time, I think most people overreact to weather reports in the NFL in their decision-making around fantasy and betting. The one thing that terrifies me when it comes to weather is wind. And we got projected wind gusts north of 40 miles an hour in this Ravens and Jaguars game. Actually, the most concerning game, though, weather-wise today, it isn't that game, which is tonight. And that means also, because that game's tonight, that weather report can shift. I mean, there's plenty of time for that wind report to go from 40 to 60 or from 40 to 20. So there's huge range of outcomes here for the weather in the game tonight. But the game that absolutely is going to be impacted by the weather, that I'm extremely confident will be impacted by the weather, it is the Panthers and Falcons game. We got heavy rain throughout this whole game. We got Desmond Ridder. We got Bryce Young. I don't even know if there's going to be 300 total passing yards in this game. Maybe not even 200 total passing yards in this Falcons-Panthers game. Great news for Bijan. It's probably good news for Chuba Hubbard. I do not want to start Adam Thielen. I do not want to start Drake London. I do not want to start Kyle Pitts. Neither of the quarterbacks. Get those guys as far away from your starting lineup as you possibly can. And I do think it's a good tiebreaker here, weather-wise, to bench Zay Flowers. Olave or Kupp. So Olave's not even playing. So, yeah, good morning. Welcome to the live. it's time to catch up on the news because there's a lot of news to be on top of today. And there's a lot of guys questionable that you need to be monitoring very closely. We're in the fantasy football playoffs. There's no time to mess around. It is week 15. It is win or go home in fantasy football. You got to be on the small things. So let me catch you up on the news. Chris Olave is not expected to play today. He's going to test it out pregame, but there is, quote, not a lot of optimism. This is right from the source, Ian Rappaport, very reliable source here. You got to operate as we stand now. Obviously, we're going to get the official report before the game starts, not during this live stream. But as we stand now, based on the reports, you got to operate with your fantasy football decisions as if Chris Olave is not going to play. So take Chris Olave out of your starting lineup, put somebody else in. And if he ends up playing, that would be a pleasant surprise. And you probably do want to start him if he plays. But it sounds like he's not going to play. Same thing goes with A.J. Dillon. Technically, he's still a game time decision. But also, we already got a report he's not expected to play. He has a broken thumb. He can't catch the ball. He's probably out. Juju Smith-Schuster is probably out. That's good for Pop Douglas today. Tutu Atwell is out. If you need a really deep sleeper, guys, look no further than Demarcus Robinson today. Michael Wilson, Marquise Brown, they're expected to play. Again, the big one, A.J. Dillon, he is out. Nico Collins is out. Noah Brown is in. That's most of the reports, I think. Tyreek Hill, he's a true game time decision today. I think he's going to end up playing. Achan's a true game time decision today. I'm less confident he's going to end up playing. Ferguson or Kincaid? Yeah, so I'm pretty down on Kincaid. He's been really good this season, and so he still ranks pretty high. I have Ferguson one spot ahead of Kincaid, though, and I would back this up with plenty of rationale. I even think there's a good argument for guys like Goddard and Kittle to be ahead of Kincaid. The only reason they're not is that game, that Cowboys-Bills game is projected to be really high scoring. But Dawson Knox is back, guys. Dawson Knox is absolutely lowering the floor for Dalton Kincaid at this point. Jake Ferguson in an every down role, really one of the main pass catchers for Dak right now. I'm playing Ferguson over Kincaid. One more question, then I'll stop bothering you. You're not bothering me at all, guys. You're not bothering me. I appreciate everybody in this live stream. Seriously, shout out to all of you guys. This has been an incredibly fun season, and there's nothing more fun than taking it home. We're in the final stretch here. We got to take it home. We got to win 1 week at a time. Don't think about next week yet. You got to focus on the decisions right now. All right, Rashee Rice or DeVonta Smith. Yeah, so I'm not benching DeVonta Smith. I'm going DeVonta Smith over Rashee Rice. Let's see what Walter says about this one. I really like DeVonta Smith in this spot today. I just have so much confidence after we saw his first game with Dallas Goedert back, and I was a little nervous for that. He comes out and he rips a 36% target share. He's been on fire, man. DeVonta Smith has been one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL, really since he entered the league. Like, when you compare A.J. Dillon's stats to DeVonta Smith's stats and all the games they've played together, it is pretty shocking to people how close those stats are. Certainly, A.J. Dillon has the edge in pretty much every category, but not by as much as you would think. And again, DeVonta Smith, he's been targeted much more heavily against zone coverage than man coverage. A.J. Brown, has been targeted at the highest rate in the league against man coverage. And the Seahawks run zone at some of the highest rates in the league. So yeah, I do like DeVonta Smith a lot, and I would play DeVonta Smith over Rashee Rice. I like them both a lot, though, for sure. Goddard, or likely, yeah, it's Goddard. With the weather report in Baltimore, it's Goddard for sure. Sam, what's up? Stafford or Jordan Love? Yeah, these are two good options. I think both these guys end up balling out today, but I'm going Stafford. It's Stafford over Love. Stafford is a locked in top 10 QB play this week against the Commanders. Guys, the Commanders, they've stopped nobody. I mean, basically nobody. Let me pull up some of these numbers. And Stafford's been balling too. I mean, we could see a huge performance from Stafford today. I think the ceiling alone justifies starting Stafford in almost all situations. Like, unless you have that top tier of quarterback, you're starting Stafford. Tua had 20 points against the Commanders in the last game. Dak dropped 32 points. Tommy DeVito had 22 points. Geno Smith had 24 points. We've seen at least 19 points. At least 19 points, guys, have been scored against the Commanders defense by a quarterback in all but one game since week 2. It's week 15. We've seen 12 or 13 games out of 14. I think it's 12 games out of 13 we've seen. quarterback go for at least 19. So the floor for Stafford's 19 is what I'm trying to tell you. And the ceiling is 30 plus. Like, it doesn't really get better than that at the quarterback position. And sure, Jordan Love has a similar ceiling. I don't think Jordan Love's floor is 19 points. You got to start Stafford for sure. I mean, yeah, Stafford's in a really, really good situation. Pick one, Achane, Ford, or Hopkins. Oh, God, I want to say Hopkins here. This one's pretty tough. And again, we don't know if Achane's playing yet. Definitely one of the tougher decisions here, just injury news-wise. Achane's always going to project really well. He's been the most efficient running back in the NFL. There's not been a more efficient running back in the NFL than Achane this season, but the sample size is small. I'd play it safe and put Hopkins in there for now. We'll see what the reports are for Achane. But yeah, I think Hopkins, revenge game for Hopkins, by the way, this week against the Houston Texans. Definitely don't hate that by any means. Achane or Ridley, I'd go Achane over Ridley. I play Rashee Rice over Zay Flowers. I play Kyler over ETN. Yeah, I'm playing quarterbacks over running backs for sure. Rashee Rice over Zay Flowers is easy. Keaton Mitchell, Connor, or Spears. I think it's Keaton Mitchell over Connor. Let me pull up the running back ranks again here. Yeah, I got Keaton Mitchell one spot ahead of James Conner. One spot ahead. It's super close. CEH or Spears. Half PPR. I lost Jacobs. I'm desperate. It's CEH. Yeah, it's CEH over Spears. This is maybe not a Spears game. It's maybe not a Spears game. On paper, a month ago, I would have guessed it would be a Spears game with CJ Stroud and the Texans' elite passing attack. But no CJ Stroud, no Nico Collins, no Tank Dell. We got Davis Mills. The Titans are 3.5-point favorites. That's not good news for Spears. That's very good news for Derrick Henry. Spears is the pass down back for the Titans. So yeah, go CEH. Go CEH. I play Dobbs over CEH and London. I'm putting Aaron Jones over Achane. Yep, I would slide Aaron Jones right up to the beginning of tier 4 here with the A.J. Dillon report that A.J. Dillon's likely not going to play. Aaron Jones is going to play. This is the reports we're getting this morning. Zeke or London. You got to start Ezekiel Elliott, guys. There's no way around it. I know it might not feel great. We got an old Zeke trotting out there. He's coming off his best game in over a year. He had 30 touches last week. The Pats could get destroyed in this game, and Zeke will still get 5 catches, 20 yards. He'll get 10 points. Like, the floor for Zeke is just so high, and the touchdown ceiling is pretty high too. Dak or Fields, I need help ASAP. It's Dak, man. It's Dak. It's got to be Dak over Fields for sure. For sure. Sammy skipped. CJ and Nico killing me. Dealing with Carr and Zach Wilson. Yeah, so you can't go Zach. You cannot play Zach Wilson. You can't do it. You can't do it. Do not start Zach Wilson. Is Achane a play today? He's a play, yeah. If he plays. We don't know if he's playing, but if he plays, he's a play for sure. I would play him over Keaton Mitchell. If I'd play Achane over Keaton Mitchell if he plays, I'd play Achane over Ferguson if Achane plays. I'd play Achane over Dotton. I'd play Achane over Shaheed. Yep. Ferger likely is Ferguson. Yeah, it's Ferguson over likely for sure. Let me go to the tight end tiers, guys. The tight end tiers. I see a Darren Waller versus Chig question. I think the Darren Waller start-sit decision, I think it's one of the most difficult start-sit decisions of the season. We got Darren Waller coming off a really tough injury where he missed the last, 4 games he's missed. He was balling before that. I mean, he was the clear top receiving option for the Giants. First game back, though, will he see that full role? Like, I'm willing to start Darren Waller over guys like Chig, like Jonnu Smith, like Hunter Henry, like Tyler Higbee. I'm starting Waller over those guys, yeah. Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Flacco, Murray, choose 2. Yeah, I think it's T-Law and Kyler over Tua against the Jets. I'm definitely nervous for Tua against the Jets. CEH or Hollywood? I'd go Hollywood over CEH. Am I good to start Zay Flowers? Should I grab Samuel, Jones, Dobbs? I think Dobbs over Zay is pretty reasonable. I don't know if my rankings are going to agree with that. Again, there's some bad weather in this Ravens game, which does have me a tad concerned for Zay Flowers. Yeah, look, this is close. This is close enough that, and we're not going to know. The problem with this Ravens weather report, there's reports out there, guys, that we could see 40+ mile an hour wind gusts in this Ravens-Jaguars game. That is significant wind. But the game is not till tonight, and that weather report can shift. And like without that weather report, it's Zay Flowers over Dobbs. Hands down, I'm not even going to think about it that much. But then you look at Dobbs, and Dobbs gets the Buccaneers defense. They've allowed the 3rd most points per game to receivers this season. They've been torched. by receivers this year, and there's no Christian Watson, and Jordan Love's been balling, and Dobbs has been doing pretty well himself. Honestly, not as good as I thought he's been doing. He's had 3 straight games under 12. It's Zay Flowers. Go Zay Flowers over Dobbs. Go Zay Flowers over Dobbs. I do still think, too, Zay Flowers, I think I've said this before on a past live stream. Zay Flowers is the type of guy, he can still have a big game despite the win because he can take a screen pass to the house. Like he can take short passes and do a lot after the catch. I had Olave out. Demarcus Robinson, Wicks, Zay. Oh, gosh. Yeah, man, this is brutal. Going from Olave to these guys. Demarcus Robinson is the sleeper pick of the day for sure. He gets the Commanders. There's no Tutu Atwell. He has a previous history with Matt Stafford, too. They played together before. Matthew Stafford. Sorry, I went to pull up Demarcus Robinson. I'm pretty sure he's the guy you should be going with here. Yeah, he played 87% of the snaps with Tutu out. He ran around basically every single play. He had 10 targets. He had 10 targets last week. He didn't do a ton with them, and he scored. He's got back-to-back games over 13 points. It's Demarcus Robinson. Guys, Demarcus Robinson is the sleeper of the day for sure. Reed, Evans, or Puka. It's got to be Puka, then it's Evans, then it's Reed. I like Reed, but I like Puka and Evans more. Diggs, Olave, Evans, Ayuk, more. Pick 3, please. You got to start Diggs. Olave's not going to play today. Get Olave out of your lineups, guys. You got to assume Olave's out based on the reports that are out there. So you're benching Olave here. And then between Ayuk and Evans, I think you probably bench Ayuk, but it's a tough call, man. Evans has been really good. He's coming off his worst game of the season. All the complaining ended up working out for Chris Godwin. He did get more targets. He did nothing with them. Probably back to a Mike Evans game here. Yeah, I think I would go Evans over Ayuk, but it's a really close call. Evans or Puka, I'm definitely going Puka over Evans. Hopkins over Zay. Hopkins over Zay with the weather report there. I want to start with who do I bench? Yeah, you got to bench Derrick Henry here. You got to bench Derrick Henry. You're starting Rachaad White over Derrick Henry in a PPR league. You have to. And I think the Derrick Henry stuff makes sense. Like I get wanting to start Derrick Henry. I'm going to start Derrick Henry too in a lot of spots. I think it makes sense. Hurts or it's Hurts or over Purdy for sure. But Derrick Henry, I got to at least call out here, guys. This is not the same Houston Texans defense that historically Derrick Henry's been destroying. The Texans have not allowed a single running back to go over 100 total yards, 100 rushing yards this season. Not a single one. The Titans are favorites today, so yeah, Derrick Henry's still a good play, but he's not as good of a play as Rachaad White is in PPR leagues. So bench him. Sam, Kylo, what's going on, man? We took the Gibbs. It was free yesterday. Yeah, it was free. It was free, and I got another free one for us today, Kyle. I'm not the type of person that's going to be overconfident and promise you results. That's just not. Like if that's the type of thing you're looking for, you're in the wrong place. I'm here to give you my take. I'm here to give you the analysis you need to make your own best decisions. That's what the Walter Picks app is all about. But I got a free player prop today that I really like, and we're 24-10 on these free player props. So let me talk through. Let me talk through the rationale on this one. Devontae Smith. We're going back to the well here. We've cashed on a couple free Devontae Smith props this season. Devontae Smith is maybe the most underrated wide receiver in the entire NFL. Like I think it's possible to argue it. I think it's possible to argue that Devontae Smith, there is not a more underrated wide receiver in the NFL. This dude is out there commanding 36% target shares alongside AJ Brown. Dallas Goedert returns and he gets a 36% target share. Now he gets the Seahawks, and we've seen Devontae Smith get peppered with targets against zone coverage this season. The target rate for zone, 21% target rate against zone versus 17%. It's a 4% difference there. Zone versus man. AJ Brown, his target share against man coverage is above 33%. And this is notable because the Seahawks run zone coverage near the top of the league, top 5 in zone coverage rate in the league. 58.5 is just too low. It's too low for Devontae Smith. He's hit this in 5 of his last 6 games. He's had at least 44 yards in 8 straight games. I love when the floor for my props is like within 15 yards of the prop line for these receiving props. So you're telling me the floor for Devontae Smith is 45 yards and they're setting his line at 58.5. This line should be 68.5 or 64.5 in that range. It's at 58.5. So Devontae Smith, he's the free player prop of the day. All right, guys, we're running into the end part of this live. It's going to be a quick live because I'm going to the Pats game. I'm going to be tailgating. I'm going to get the full Pats experience today. We went live Saturday morning. We hit on every game, basically every player already in this live. But of course, you can go and watch the beginning of the live too if there's a player I missed, or go to the Walter Picks app, guys. The Walter Picks app is the best place to go for your start sit decisions, Jones or Swift. Oh, gosh, it's a really, really close call with Jones now with the A.J. Dillon reports. I think I probably would go Aaron Jones over Swift. Weatherman Sam, should I be worried about the weather for Jake Elliott kicking performance? Yeah, so let me pull up the weather report here again one more time, because there is some significant weather. I don't think this Eagles game is one that I'm concerned about. So no, I don't think, to answer your question, Sam, no, I'm not too worried about Jake Elliott's kicking game. But what I am worried about is the passing attacks for the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Most of you probably aren't relying on those, but I do worry about them being able to pass the ball. So I'll QB to your question in the TikTok live. Significant rain, heavy rain, the entire Panthers and Falcons game, wind gusts up to 35 miles an hour. In the Ravens and Jaguars game, we got potential wind gusts in the 40-mile-an-hour range. Yikes. In that one, that is not good. And this is really tough. Sitting here, it's 10 a.m. We're 3 hours away from kickoff, and the 1 o'clock games, we are like, 11 hours, 12 hours out from the night game actually starting. The weather reports can change drastically in that time. So it's a tough thing that this is a night game here between the Ravens and Jaguars, and we're getting this weather report early in the morning. But if there's 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, guys, the passing games will be impacted in that Ravens-Jaguars game. The Jets-Dolphins game, possible rain. I don't think it's going to be very significant rain, though, and there's going to be wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour. Not super concerned about the Jets-Dolphins, though I do worry about Zach Wilson a little bit. Purdy or Allen? Yeah, it's Allen. You got to start Allen. I'm going Kmet over Taysom. Yeah, I got the tight end tier. I'll go back to the tight end tiers. I'm going Kmet over Taysom, but barely. And I think Taysom's got a higher ceiling. Stafford over Love. Yeah, I would go Stafford over Love. Must bench list, please. Yeah, I'll pull that up in a second. And then we're going to go to the wide receiver tiers. I'm starting Brock Purdy. I'm starting Matt Stafford, Evan Ingram, Trey McBride, Devontae Smith, Puka Nacua, Rashee Rice, Zeke, ETN. You will not see me benching these guys in a single league. Not a single one. And then the guys that I'm benching for sure, I'm nervous for Dalton Schultz. I'd prefer not to start Darren Waller in his first game back. Kyler, I don't feel great about against the 49ers. Tua, I feel terrible about against the Jets, especially if Tyreek doesn't end up playing. Chris Godwin, good chance he doesn't end up playing. A.J. Dillon's just straight up not playing. Kenneth Walker, I'm nervous for him against the Eagles. Clyde, I would prefer not to start. Deontay Foreman, Gus Edwards, prefer not to start all these guys. I'm playing Puka over Rice. I'm playing Puka over everybody, guys. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, like they need to be started. Worried about weather for Chicago versus Cleveland. Yeah, so there's some other weather reports, out there, but I'm not a weather alarmist. And no, I'm not too concerned about that game. So it's going to be wet. There's going to be rain. It's probably going to clear in the second half, the rain in that Bears-Browns game. Sustained winds in the 15 to 20 mile an hour range, gusts up to 25. Like it's the wind over 25 that I get worried about. Like this wind is not meaningful. I'm not that worried about the Bears and Browns game overall. All right, guys, let me go to the wide receiver tier list, and then we're going to wrap up this live stream today. Let's get you some of these more of these starts. I'll put the wide receiver rankings here on the YouTube live. Olave, Aaron Jones. Thank you for the prop. Have fun at the Pats game. Enjoy you. See you Thursday. Thanks, man. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the love. Good luck to everybody, of course, in the fantasy football playoffs. Everyone, just do a quick prayer for my best ball teams. I can't even begin to imagine how many hours I put into drafting during best ball season. And it all comes down to this, man. We just need one team to advance. DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley. It's DJ Moore. It's DJ Moore over Ridley easily. It's Love. It's Jordan Love. Oh, God, I think it's Jordan Love over Mahomes. It feels weird, Mia, but it's Jordan Love over Mahomes. Have fun at the game. Thanks, man. The first game I'm going to for the Pats this season. Hit the tailgate. Yeah, we're literally about to sprint to the tailgate in 2 minutes. Olave, Aaron Jones, OBJ. Olave's not going to play. I don't think he's going to play. Aaron Jones has got to be started in most spots. Where your start sits. Yeah, we'll go back to the final start sit. Again, guys, just to wrap up in conclusion before we get locked in here to the tailgate. And it feels weird. Benching Patrick Mahomes feels terrible. I was really close to starting Jake Browning over Mahomes. I probably should have. I was close to starting Nick Mullins over. I'm kind of scared, for Mahomes, but it's weird to bench Mahomes. It's just weird. But he has not had that many big games in fantasy this season. All right, final takeaways here, guys. Start Brock Purdy. Start every 49ers player if you can. Deebo Samuel I like more than Ayuk. Start Stafford and the entire Rams passing attack. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams. These guys are elite options this week. Evan Ingram has been the most consistent tight end in all of fantasy. Needs to be started. Trey McBride, still a good option in a tough matchup. Devontae Smith is a lock this week. He's the free player prop over 58.5 receiving yards. Puka Nacua is elite. Rashee Rice, Zeke, Etienne. These are the guys I am absolutely starting. I would go Aaron Jones over a guy like Antonio Gibson. Aaron Jones with A.J. Dillon out is an elite option. Hoping for back-to-back fantasy chips. I'm telling you, not a single better feeling in this world than back-to-back fantasy football championships. Sam Howell over Fields. For me, I would do that. And then Ford or Swift is close. I'll quote the running back tiers. Why is McBride a must start? Because McBride has been extremely consistent target share wise. We got Ford versus Swift. Yeah, it's Ford. I'm going Ford over Swift. It's definitely close, though. I think I would go Taysom Hill over Isaiah Likely. I think I would. I think I'd go Evans and Brees here over Achane. Still unclear if Achane's going to start. Guys, that is my time. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're on YouTube, guys, before you go, smash the like button so we can get some people watching the recap, the review, the recording of this live stream afterwards. Thank you all so much for tuning in, guys. Time is the most valuable thing we have. Thanks for spending some time with me today. As always, if I didn't get to your start sit, I'm telling you, go to the Walter Picks app. It is the best place for free start sit advice. It is the best place to go for free start sit advice. It is in the TikTok bio. It is in the YouTube description. It is free. Good luck, everybody. I'll see you Thursday night. Have a great day.